Hi, everybody. It's 5 o'clock. Actually, I think I think I got it right. It's 5 o'clock on Friday, Central Standard Time here just outside Chicago. I'm RJ Ogren, and this is the new time I'm doing on Fridays. Thank you all for joining me. Uh, wow. I've been painting all day in the dark on this painting. Let's see, we got people joining. Jamie Wright. Hi. How are you, Jamie? Lisa Simmons. Yes. Hello, Lisa. Um, Great. Oh, just one right after another. Um, and okay, here we go again with the glasses. And of course, when I put the glasses on, I look really strange. So I'm going to turn this light out. Look even. Oh, now I look totally bizarre. Oh God, that's funny. So you're seeing the screen in my glasses. Um, oh, thank you, Lisa. Yes, I am doing well. And I see Kel and Bessie and Keith and gee, just everybody's joining in here. This is great. I'm actually going to finish a painting on my show. Uh, this last ghost right here, I have to do his beard still and the uh, cannonball weight that he has on his chain. And then I'm highlight the center ghost and him, the short ghost, a little bit more to match the ghost on this side. This is different. I'm actually painting this on wood. Um, this was a special request. This is going to sit in um, a finished basement window, but it'll be able to take it out for Halloween and place it in their front window for Halloween with black light on it, whatever. Uh, and I think that'll work like it is. Got to tilt it back a little bit. Um, but anyway, Larry, oh, there you are. Hey, Larry, look. If you didn't hear, because you just joined, I just have to finish the beard and hair on the little guy here and the cannonball weight he has, and then highlight the center ghost and the small ghost a little bit more. Um, Looks good. Thank you, Larry. Glad to hear that. And I have, it's been crazy. I have more commissions coming in, a lot of fun stuff. I managed to get some coffee, not in my Haunted Mansion mug, in my Toy Story mug. Um, I'll take my glasses off for a minute because I really look strange in there with the reflection of this. If you just joined and you haven't been on my shows before, I'm RJ Ogren. I do go by RJ, but I'm listed as Randy Jack Ogren, which is where the RJ comes from. Go figure. And wow, it's been crazy. I've got to tell you, I didn't do a show last week, and then for those of you who don't know, I also did a poll to find out what was the best time for me to do these Friday afternoon. Well, actually, I put down different days too. The vast majority picked Fridays at 5 o'clock. So here we are, and hopefully more people can join in live. And this gives me more time to get stuff done during the wet day, although I think I actually came on a minute late again. That's normal. Oh, I said, you're late to everything. Well, look at my shirt. Wait. Oh, oh, there we go. The Disney Beatles shirt. I love the shirt. Suzanne has the same shirt. And we went out this morning with our grandson to go get donuts. And Susie and I didn't know we were actually turned around. We both had the same shirt on. I went, oh, twinsies. But last week, the reason I was not on, I did say we were at a wedding. We were in Huntsville, Alabama, which is in the northern part of Alabama. And it was Suzanne's cousin's daughter getting married. We've known her since she was a little girl. It was a great wedding, a great reception, everything about it. The bride and groom looked wonderful. The bride was beautiful. We had a great time with family, friends, everything. So obviously we weren't here. We left on Thursday, came back on Monday, and then I jumped right back into working on this blacklight painting. And I apologize for the light strips around there, those vinyl shades. I'm going to be building my shelves in my studio very soon, and I do want to get some shades that are shutters, not shutters, but the wide louvers that look like wood, and that'll cut a lot of that bleed light out. So that was what we were doing. We were at a wedding. We're back. It's 5 o'clock, and I'm here. Donna, Jennifer, Molly, hi everybody. Tammy. Well, I'm seeing some new names on here. This is great. I'm so nice to have you. I'm RJ Ogren. If you're from England, you'll know why I go by RJ instead of Randy. Not going there. So anyway, because we do go to England. We've been over there 4 times. Love it over there. And we are hopefully planning a trip next year to England and Sweden, because my cousin and I have made contact in the last couple of years. And her grandmother and my grandmother were sisters. So my Swedish side of the family is coming back. And, okay. And actually, oh, that's our dog, Shayla. A bark in the night. Keith, hey, Keith. Suzanne's blog. She wrote another blog, which she didn't write. Her blog is srogren.blogspot.com. And I might even read it at some time. I'm throwing out some stuff here. I have to do this. I do, of course, have my group sites, and when all of you know, when I post something, I post it on other sites too. But I also post on some sites that invited me to do so, and Crazy for Disney, which is Rudy Claire, and Rudy has had a couple of interviews with us, and I guess we're planning to do another one. He hasn't decided when, but great guy, and want to thank him for allowing me to post what I'm doing on his group site. These are other group sites I post on. Disney Parks People, which is Ryan and Stacy Lehman. Ryan is a tremendous magician, and we've had some great times together, and look forward to more of that. And they did a great video piece on us, and of course I post on their site. Now That's Disney with David Picciano. Thank you, David. And last but not least is Disney Fun and Games by Ken DiPietro. God, I always get to say that right. And of course, I am posting on Disney Fun and Games. I posted I did a poll. I'm trying to do one every Friday. And the one I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to go over to the group site, Disney Fun and Games. And I asked a question about Snow White's Scary Adventure, and the answer and additional information will be revealed on Monday. Woohoo! So while I'm waiting to start painting. I'm waiting for everybody as possible to get on here. Corey, love watching you work under the black light. Yeah, I know. I've been doing it for a few weeks now. You walk out of my studio and the sun's shining, and you're like, oh, it's like being in a dark theater all day. But I do love working on blacklight paintings, not just regular paintings. And mentioning this thing with the poll on the Apple, and I let something slip. Oh no. Well, you have to still go over there to find out what the question was. So anyway, and if actually a plug for our books, if you read our books that Suzanne and I have written, and we're writing a third one in the series on our careers at Disney World. Of course, I was one of the 4 original management audio-animatronic artists, and I do have something to tell you about that. I was trying to find out what happened to the artists, because I was getting a little upset that they were not having the same controls and quality controls they were having at Disney World when we were there because we had a lot of power. And our bosses came from the Hollywood, the Disney studios in California. Turns out, I just found out that supposedly the artists were moved from around the Magic Kingdom to the back of the property. Bad idea as far as I'm concerned, because you need to be close in, you need to get to things quickly. If something happens, be right back of the property, it can take 15, 20 minutes longer just because of having to get in the car, drive over there, and everything else, when you could just as easily run into the tunnels, go right to the attraction, or go above ground, which we used to do quite often. So apparently the artists are still there, but I also don't think they have somebody working in the dark rides at night that paints the floors and touches things up. So yeah, I like things to be done right. Now, and I will be updating our website in the next week here. I've been way behind on that. So I will let you know when that happens. You can go on there and see stuff. I've got a lot of paintings, including these like this I've been doing, that aren't even on the site yet. It's been very busy time. If you're interested in a commission painting, please just message me on Facebook, and I will be happy to give you all the information, et cetera, and we'll go from there. So I am done with that. So and gosh, only a couple more things, but I can tell you about those later. Oh wait, plug for the show. Much Ado About Nothing, directed by our son Sean Ogren and co-directed by Suzanne Ogren. And a great cast, great show. It opens on the 4th of May and closes on the 13th, I believe. And my birthday is the night before that, 12th of May. And we're actually having a cast party that night, so I'm telling everybody it's my birthday party. So anyway, and I have been painting scenic items for that show. Now I think, awesome. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. Israel, going to invite my artist amigos. Oh, thank you. That would be great. Now, I think I actually will start doing some painting because we have enough people, and I can tell you these other things after we go along, and I have some more coffee. Much better. Okay, I'm going to turn this light out. Much darker in here than it might look. And I'm going to, here, wait a minute. Okay, I'm tired. We're done for the day. I'm pulling things in closer. I'm trying to get this as close as I can to the screen. I'll pull my laptop closer. How's that? Ooh. Okay, enough of the sound effects, huh? Start doing my Mickey Mouse and Goofy impressions, my ghost impressions. Okay, here we are. We've got this going, and I have, again, for those of you who don't know, I work in acrylics. I used to do oils years ago, but I started doing acrylic painting back in 1973, and I love acrylics. And I tried all kinds of things you buy at the art stores that put your paints in and everything else. But I found that the wonderful food trays from restaurants and stuff are perfect. And those colors in here are colors I've used on this painting right here. And I'm using, instead of acrylic blacklight paints, which I do have for working on canvas and mixing with regular tube acrylics by Blick. I am working, because this is on wood, so and it's really smooth wood that I got and cut the size, and it's 3/4 inch. That should help too. I'm going to tip it. 3/4 inch plywood with a very smooth surface. So I primed this with latex primer and 2 coats. I did 1 coat, then I sanded, did another coat. And then I laid it all out and I started painting first, and I paint from the back to the front. So the first thing I did was the sky, and then I did the trees, and then I started working on the mansion here. And the mansion took a few days. This is only 14 inches high, I believe, and 34 inches long. I may not be exact, but we do have the right measurements. Don't get excited, Larry. You know what it is. Spooky. Oh, thank you, Larry. Yes. So anyway, yeah, and I wanted to. I laid this whole thing out because we wanted the Hitchhiking Ghosts in front of the mansion and everything. So as I worked my way forward after I got the mansion done, and I did the trees in the background before I did the mansion. Then I came forward and did the bushes and the trees that were in front of that, and then I did these walls. I have left out the iron picket fences because it would just be too much going on. I wanted to keep it clean and open. And of course, I thought a nice treat would be to add the hearse with the ghost horse. And that's where we are. Now, the colors. Anybody have any questions? I'm not going to answer. In a smaller food tray, I have actually the colors of the ghosts. I have a blue, sort of a grayish blue. I have the green color. I have white, which is actually, and these are Wildfire paints that I'm using on the wood. I back up, I was going to say that before. So because I'm working on wood, I'm using Wildfire UV paint, which is very expensive and very strong, very powerful colors. And I mean, this is a toned down white right here, which is in here. And it's actually the Wildfire white, blacklight white, with some acrylic latex, I mean, a latex white paint, house paint added to it. I use house paints, and you don't have to use expensive house paints to work on this. Just so you know, most paints made for all the companies everywhere, there's only like 2 or 3 manufacturers now that make all the paints, so they're all the same. So, yeah, you're just paying more money for a paint that's just as good as another in most cases, unless it gets too thin in quality. But I've used the least expensive paint, which is what this is, from Menards, and mixed with the Wildfire blacklight paints to get the different shades and values and everything. I also have some black in here, which you cannot see, and yeah, it's in there, but it's regular black that I had mixed at Menards. The regular house paints that I get when I'm doing a mural or doing painting on wood like this, I get them in red, yellow, blue. I have them mixed. I have a green, like a grass green, and a brown. Green and brown are very hard to mix with house paints. If you're using red, yellow, blue, yes, yeah, it doesn't come out good. If you get the color, I'm bringing this up because I've had people send me messages and ask me questions about these things. And so anyway, let's see, I'm just checking to see if anybody's asked anything else. And So I had those colors mixed. I use them on murals, just in regular lighting, and then I use them with the wildfire paints. Now, wildfire, you can get red, yellow, blue, white, it's called optical white, and you can get a green, which I do get, and that's pretty much what I get. I can mix any color out of those. So these guys here, this guy's beard. First, I'm going to put the bluish. First, I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see. I have astigmatism, so if I start, I can actually see sort of okay, but as I start working, then my astigmatism starts doing weird things. It's harder to focus. So I'm going to paint. I've already put a base coat on here of the same color. Now I'm going to just paint his hair first, because obviously this paint's going to dry pretty quickly. So now I'm using the green that's in my tray here. And I'm going to blend that in some. So, how is everybody on this wonderful Friday? We finally seem to be coming into spring here in the Chicago area after having snow recently. Okay, I've got that on there. Now I'm going to take a little bit of black, and the black is funny because I can't see. I literally can't see it in the tray because I'm in the dark. So what I'll do is I'll take some black, and I use paper towels instead of rags, and I'll put a little bit of the black on here, uh, and add a little water to it to thin it down a little bit, and then I can come in here and do a little bit of shading. So I'm going to mix it in while this is still wet, and bring it down around his face a little bit, and on the right side, creepy looking guy. Then I am going to take the white that I have and highlight his hair. And do it on the left side here, a little bit on the right. The thing about working in blacklight too is you can't, sometimes when it's really dark that you're painting onto, you can't see your brush until it touches it. So now I'm going to turn the other light on, and we'll all go blind. This is actually a mix because you're still getting black light shining on this, but you can see what they look like in regular light. So it's fun, and when you turn out that light, Sarah Thornton, hi, how are you? Nice to have so many people on today. Go tell your friends I'm on. Go tell your enemy. No, don't tell your enemies. I don't have any. We don't have enemies. So, I've got that part of his. I've got his hair done. Now I'm going to paint up around his mouth, and his mouth is just a black opening. Actually, I'm going to paint all the way down on his beard now. I'll put in the blue first. Okay. And then we go to the green, which I need to add some water to because it's starting to dry in my tray here. I have to keep adding water every so often to the mixed colors. And surprisingly, these food trays, and you cover them up, and the paint will still be good the next day and beyond. So now I can paint around his mouth. And down his beard, yay. Okay. Actually, his beard is pretty easy to paint. The real detail, or the hardest parts of these ghosts, well, basically everything else. but their faces, is getting their faces right, and their hands. And this whole painting, almost entirely, except for when I was doing the sky, I've done with a very tiny brush. Let's put it against my shirt, yes, because this is a small painting. Hence the small brush. Now I'm taking white again and coming in here and putting some highlights in here on his beard. Okay. Greatly. Oh, looks like somebody I know. I don't know somebody like that. Actually, if they're a ghost, you're okay. Okay. So we're gonna leave that. Oh, I gotta paint the cannonball here, which is hanging off of his chain and attached by an ankle. Clamped onto his ankle there. And we'll make it round, which makes sense. Okay, I just used the lighter green. Now I'm going to get the black again, which I can't see, and paint the one side of it and the bottom with the black, and then blend it upward into the lighter colors. Now I'll go to the white. And we'll highlight that on the top and a little bit down the center there. So I'm working on this while it is wet to blend some of these colors together. Okay, now what I'm going to do is let that dry for a second, because then I'm going to do some highlights on those figures. And I'm going to turn this light back on. Okay, and now I can, God, I'm really in tight here. Jamie, have any more great behind-the-scenes stories you can share with us? Love hearing your stories. Yes, actually, I do. They're in our books. I'm going to tell you some. And we are working. We don't have the exact title on our third book, but that book is going to be ready to go to the publisher by the end of August. And so we are working on it. We just keep going back and forth of the actual title. So it's still good, even though it's getting cold. What I was, oh, I know what it was. Yes, the I can take them off. I'll tell you about this. The cloak, the outfit that the witch wore. Now I understand the Snow White Scary Adventure is still at Disneyland, thank God. I wish they hadn't taken it out of Disney World. But anyway, the cloak that she wore is all black, and it's actually a black material. The figures in Snow White Scary Adventure were fiberglass. So, book plug too. Give me a chance, there'll be 3 and 4 here. And if you just joined me, I'm RJ Ogren, and yeah, so just hang in there and bear with me. But anyway, the figures were fiberglass, and of course, the only part, the fiberglass shell fit around the figures, and the insides. The insides had actuators and moving parts, that, you know, to make their arms move, their heads turn, whatever, and so we only had to paint what could be seen. So on the witch, it was her hands and about 6-8 inches up her arm, and of course her neck and her face. And of course we painted the apples, of which I have an apple hanging here in the black light. And but the cloaks, to make them look right, we had the costume department make these outfits for them. So they would put the outfits on. Sometimes they'd forget to tell us they put a new one on. That's why we always had to check the rides constantly. And we'd walk into the blacklight ride, and it just was like a black hole. It was just her face and hands was all you saw, because the black blended into the black backdrops. Looked very a floating head and hands. So to make that material stand out, and of course it falls with folds in it, and you had to have highlights on the arm, the top parts of it. You know, if her arm is coming out like this or whatever, it has all those nice folds. So what we did is we got from Shannon Glow, which I don't know if it's in existence anymore. They were the ones who we got our blacklight paint from in the 70s and 80s. And they had a spray that could probably kill you in minutes if you were in a closed room. It was awful. It was powerful. It was not good to breathe. So we were supposed to wear masks, which I always did until I didn't one time. And I needed to spray this one figure of the witch, because that's actually an invisible spray. You can't see it in regular light, but you can see it under black light. And they had this sort of it was a soft blue color. And because they're spraying it on black material, it would kind of blend in with the black, so it wouldn't be real bright. But you could then see her cloak and all the folds. The trick was, this one time I was spraying, and I had the spray, and I thought, I've got to do it, but I didn't have my mask, and I wasn't going to have time to go back down behind Small World to our studio and get the mask, come back up, spray, and get the air cleared before the attraction opened. I think we were about 45 minutes before opening, which would be enough time for that to dissipate. So I took a deep breath and started spraying and held it as long as I could, and then I ran into the next area of the attraction, as far from where I sprayed as I could, and I'd go and get my breath, and then I'd get ready, and I'd run back in and holding my breath. So now I had less time because I'm holding my breath before I get there, and I spray some more. I did this 3 times and thought I was going to die. Of course, the last time out, I made sure I had everything, all my paints and everything, so I could just run out to the front of the attraction, and the lead who was there getting ready to open the attraction and everything, she goes, "Are you all right now?" I said, "No, don't go in there." It was a horrible smelling stuff. But that's the only time I did that like that. Now, I will tell you this about things that uh, also we worked with that had that same, not same smell, but uh, and actually not good were the skins that we worked with, because the skins were made from reconfigured hot melt vinyl glue, of all things. Go figure, right? And the skin was pliable. It felt very close to real skin. And even on the animals, like the elephant skins were real thick. They were about that thick. Yeah, elephant skins and hippo skins were the heaviest skins we had. And boy, did they weigh a lot. You had to put them on in sections. But we used actually wood carving equipment. There were big ones, big cradle that we had these things in, and a handle cork near the middle of it so you wouldn't burn yourself. And we had special brass tips made. And the tips we did this, they were flat tips, mostly the flat ones we worked with, but we had some that were more pointed. But we take a skin like on a human figure, and when we got the skin, it was solid in the eyes. The skin went across, the mouth is closed up. I mean, it was kind of freaky looking things. And we would have to, of course, open the mouth up. We had to cut out holes where the eyeballs were, because on the figure itself, when you see it without the skin, it looks like a really strange robot, which is what they are. The Audio-Animatronic figures, the eyeballs are on there, and the eyelids that go up and down were fiberglass, and actually we would paint those, and we would put the eyelashes on those. But then when we go to put the skin on, before we could put it on, we had to take the mechanism for the mouth, had to take that off the figure. We were the only ones allowed to do this, and then we had to turn the skin inside out of the face, and then melt extra skin onto the ends of the springs and the mechanism to hold it. And it was all the way across the lips and to the side. So it was connected on the sides, it was connected top and bottom, so they could get different movements of the mouths to look real. And then, of course, once we did that, then we have the skin inside out, so where you attach the pieces on the mouth, and then we pull the skin back around, and of course we'd had the eyes already cut out, and then we had to seal it up on the back, and you melted the skin together. You just melted two pieces. You constantly burning your system. Hot melt glue, think what that's like. You know, how many times did you burn yourself with hot melt? So it was a process, and it didn't give off, we didn't get smoke coming off of it when we were heating the face skins and stuff, because they were much thinner. Oh, Lisa, love these stories. Oh, thank you. Read our books. Oh, go ahead, Jamie. Throw another one in there. I couldn't resist. But the animal skins were all the animals in the African belt. The lions over there, the giraffes, the zebras, the hippos, the elephants, the crocodiles, thank God, were fiberglass. So we painted them with house paints and then sprayed them with a protective coating, clear coat. But the elephant skins I remember the most, because when you would work on those, and there is a picture of me actually putting a new trunk on one of the elephants. And for the picture, I didn't have a mask on. We had the big breathing mask with the filters on each side. You know, I looked like an alien. And Jamie laugh out loud. That's good, yes. So, but because when you melted those skins together for the elephants and cut out parts and stuff like around the eyes and everything else, it actually you had this wisp of smoke coming off of it, and within 5-10 minutes you'd have a sore throat. And it turned out when I was there about 3 or 4 months, and that turned out every 6 months after that as an artist, They said, we have to get blood tests. I said, what for? I said, and they said, oh, nothing, just making sure everything's okay. I went, oh, it's those skins, isn't it? Yeah, it was. They were cancerous causing, so we had to be very careful with it. We didn't have other people around when we were doing it, but the other three artists seemed to always never have masks on. I thought, well, I'm not going to take that chance. I mean, cripes, I had to have blood tests my whole life because I was subjected to Agent Orange in Vietnam. And that's not good. So I didn't want to make it any worse. And then, of course, we painted those skins, including the human skins and the animal skins, with acetone-based paint. And the only thing I didn't like about it, which is a good thing, none of us smoked, which is good because acetone is incredibly flammable. So, we worked with such nice stuff. And hi, Steve, Cindy, Heather, Caitlin. Boy, everybody's jumping on here today. This is great. I hope you all like this 5 o'clock time better. I think this is to me, it's a good idea. And I'll tell you why. Before I go back, because I want to highlight these figures. And how am I doing? Oh, I have like 20 minutes. I better get busy. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I hope you like this time. It works better for me because doing it at 3 o'clock or even 4 o'clock like I was, it was cutting my day short. And plus I realized I was getting so many people that were having to watch it. And I get a lot of people watching, which I really appreciate. But couldn't watch it live. So hopefully I haven't cut too many people out. Those of you in England, Tina, I hope you, I haven't seen if you're on here. But let's see, it makes it in England, when I started this, it was 11 o'clock, I believe. So sit back with a nice drink and stay up late. Time works well for me, my lunch hour. Your lunch hour? Larry, is that because you're on a later time frame where you work? Lunch. Sean, hey, Sean, how you doing? So everybody's jumping in here. Okay, I'm gonna do the highlighting because I promised you I would actually finish, and if I can get this highlight, which shouldn't take long, but I'm going to turn out this light for a minute. Oh, back in the dark. It's so easy to scare people when you're when we be working on the attractions in the dark. and and so we were always sneaking up on each other and doing something to say, and you're prepared. You think, oh, somebody's going to do something, and then you get involved with the figure you're working on, or a prop piece, or whatever, or putting in a new figure in the black light, and just when you get relaxed is when it happened. And one of the scariest is when you're sitting there doing stuff, and suddenly you go, you get the sense that somebody's there, and you turn around, and they've been standing there for 5 minutes right next to you. It's crazy. Now, actually, I'm working with the Wildfire white with some latex white house paint added to it, so it's toned down a little bit. And there's also a reason I have to mix in the latex white house paint, because in regular light, you wouldn't see this white white at all. The white is invisible in regular light. The black light paint is. It's the only one that does that. So to be able to see it, so now I'm going to come in here on some of their, and yes, I'm actually brushing that with my finger. I'm doing a little bit of a dry brush method, but I'm doing it, putting a little bit on in the highlight areas that I want to highlight, and then brushing it with my finger so I get over my fingers, see? I do it only because I like to get paint on my hands. And there, okay. A little bit up in here, a little bit on there. Push that on. I know it's hard to see. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to do his cheekbones, put a little bit of the white on there, and on his chin, and on his lower lip. That's really, this is why I have a very small brush that I'm using. So, okay. A little bit around his eyeballs. Tighten that a little bit. Okay, nose. A little more on the hat. I'm going, doesn't look any different. Well, not on this screen anyway. No, I was going to tell you a little story about working in the black light in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And if you've read our books, come on, Jamie. If you've read, I'm doing it on purpose now. No, you would know that we had to be certified scuba divers because we swam in 20,000 leagues. Larry, you are at work. Okay, lunch. Oh, it's a good lunch. Anyway, we had to be certified scuba divers, and that was the only reason. That was the only. Although I did get to swim in the Seven Seas Lagoon when I got qualified at Disney to be a scuba diver. Actually swam in and around the wave machine on the island that was on the island opposite the Polynesian Hotel, and it never worked the way they wanted it to. So it became a reef for the fish, a lot of fish. But we would go into the, now I'm just hitting some of the highlights on this figure. And yeah, it looks good as I'm telling you this story. But the one area that was, you had to be real careful going into it, was when the submarine ride supposedly went deep, like 20,000 leagues under the sea. And it was, so that's where you saw the big dragon, I forgot what it was. But anyway, you saw the mermaids and stuff. But you went through this one area that was the fish that, I was going to call it black light fish, the fish that are deep in the ocean that glow. And so to make the fish glow, we of course painted them with Shannon Gold blacklight paint and latex house paint. All the small fish in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, we did not paint. We did not have time to do it. So we had two guys at the back of the property at the Magic Kingdom at Disney World. And they had a huge spray booth. And all they did all the time was paint new fish. So they were all the small fish you saw in 20,000 Leagues, they were painting. And you say that sounds crazy, but it's not, because the sunlight and the chlorine in the water eventually would cause the paint to start to get cloudy looking and toned down. So we would go in and take out fish, and they had a eye hook on the bottom of the fish. They actually floated. So we'd put an eye hook on the bottom and then a monofilament line to the bottom of 20,000 Leagues, which was only 12 feet deep, at the height we wanted it to be, and the fish looked like it was swimming past you. Excuse me. But the fish that were in the dark area in the black light, we had to paint those because we had to do them. We had to actually paint them in our black light studio, in our black light room in our studio. And they were a lot of fun to paint. They didn't take long to paint. We had to paint them in the dark in the black light. And there we go. All right, I'll highlight the other guy over here now. He needs it. Somebody's long lost grandfather here. And he, anyway, after we painted him, we would coat him with a clear acrylic coating, and then we would get them ready, and we put on our scuba gear the next day, and we'd go in to put them in. Now to do it, though, when we go in to do it, that area is pitch black, and you cannot see your hand in front of your face because the only thing that's lighting that area up is black light underwater, and you just can't see anything. And the fish are hooked up the same way. They're hooked to the bottom of 20,000 leagues, so they're floating at different levels. And it's wild because you're holding these fish now that are glowing in the black light underwater. And we would always get in an argument. It's whoever could grab the flashlight first that got to hold the flashlight. So Tom did to me what I eventually got to do to him, and we did it. All of us ended up having this happen. But I was hooking up, Tom's showing the flashlight down so I could see the hook on the bottom of the tank, and I'm hooking. You had to be careful because if you moved the wrong way, you got caught in the monofilament lines, and you just ended up breaking the lines, and all the fish would float to the surface, and then you'd have to get new monofilament and fix them again. Well, I'm in the middle of hooking up this fish, and all of a sudden the light goes out. So I'm in pitch black. And now I'm trying not to move because I'm afraid I'm going to get caught up in the lines. And it didn't take long. I eventually snapped off about 4 or 5 fish, and then the light came back on. I surfaced. I said, thanks. Tom says, what's wrong? I said, no. So anyway, one of the many things we would do to each other. You also had to watch your back because we would go up behind each other and turn our air off from our tanks. Sometimes we'd pull out the mouthpieces, pull the goggles off from behind. One of our favorites was to pull the flipper off. Or better yet, somehow get their weight belt off, and then that was a problem too. We were dangerous, I'll tell you. No, actually we weren't. We didn't do anything that was going to endanger anybody. That would have been wrong. But we had a lot of fun. I'm highlighting his hand over here. And some more on the ball and chain. I should highlight a little bit of that chain right there. This chain is just the impression of it. It's so small in this painting that you can't do all the little loops. Well, I guess I could if I had an even smaller brush. A little bit on his feet here. And oops, a little more on his right hand, his hitchhiking hand. Ta-da! Done. Oh, wait a minute. So one thing I want to do, using a little bit of green, I want to put a little highlight on this guy's foot right there. There, that's better. Okay. Hitchhiking Ghosts in front of the mansion. Let's see if I can give you a closer view. There you go. Oh, look, they're moving. Now, let me get off my screen there. Thank you. Oh, Larry, you missed 20K. That was a great ride. Yes. And try not to say negative things, but Eisner was the reason that came out. It was the most popular besides the Haunted Mansion. And Eisner didn't like it because he thought it took too long to load and unload people. And he wanted capacity over quality and safety. And so that's why that happened, sadly. But at least you can see go and see Finding Nemo. I mean, I don't mind them updating to Nemo. I wish they had done it at Walt Disney World. So, well, I got 5 minutes left. Anybody have any questions? Let me check, see if I missed anything. I hope everybody has had a great week. And I will be on next week. Probably doing, I have 2 stretch paintings to do. I have, I have a upcoming Headless Horseman to do. I have another wedding painting to do, which will be a lot of fun. And I have one that's I'm really looking forward to. That's in the animal kingdom. So I get to paint real animals, which is going to be a treat, with some real people. And I have a couple more apparently coming up after those. That is no, I'm not going to tell you until I actually get the commission on, because no sense talking about something I don't have yet. And so there. Now, what? Oh, and of course, I think I told you I'll take pictures. My oldest grandson Alex and his girlfriend Libby, who's our future granddaughter-in-law. She's a lovely young woman. But anyway, Alex helped me build an arbor and a picket fence, which is on the side of our yard. It goes into our backyard. And then this summer, we're going to build a picket fence in the front yard with another arbor, and then we're going to have flowers everywhere. We got our backyard done, which is great. And I have to tell you, our backyard had to be actually shaved 3 or 4 inches off of it, because it was so bad a shape when we bought the house, and we knew that. But the great thing is, we didn't think we were going to be able to afford it because it was pretty expensive, and we had other things we wanted to do to the house. And thanks to our realtor and wonderful friend, Sarah, she got groups that help veterans involved. And because I'm a Vietnam veteran, we were shocked that this happened, and very pleased. But it was done with a landscaping company came out and did it all for free. And we had some people come from Sarah's realty office and that were veterans, and some actually still in the service and reserves and stuff, and they cleaned our gutters because we're a 2-story house. I can't get up on ladders anymore. That's not a good idea. And it's been phenomenal what they have done for us, so we can't thank them enough. And but in the backyard, we are going to be planting bushes, dark green leaf bushes with variegated bushes in front. It'll be a process. It'll take us probably a few years, buying a few bushes at a time, and flowering plants too. So we want to make the backyard into an English garden, and we are going to have a fountain. I've had a water pump for years that's working, but I don't have a fountain like we did in Florida years and years ago. So I'm going to make another fountain. It's a lot cheaper if I make my own, because I'm going to make it as a waterfall. And then I'm going to make 2 fiberglass brooms from the Fantasia. And one bucket, I'm going to make a couple of them. Two of their buckets, well, they'll have two buckets. One bucket will have flowers in it. The other bucket will be part of the whole waterfall effect and be filling up with water and spilling over. We live in a strange world. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. Oh, wait, I better make sure I didn't miss anything. Thank you all for joining me again. Tell all your friends. I will be sharing this on the different group sites and everything. So, Larry, oh, great job. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. I'll be in touch with you, obviously. So, yes. And, anyway, yeah, I lost track. My mind goes all over the place. Everybody, have a great weekend. I know we plan to, and part of the time I'm going to be working on the set for the show and preparing to do the other paintings. But like I said, next week I'll actually be doing working on 1 or 2 stretch paintings for the same person. But I'll pick out something specific to work on. Like I haven't done it where I've worked on how to do hair on a figure, especially in acrylics. So that might be fun to do. On that note, thank you for joining me, and everybody have a magical weekend and a wonderful Disney time, and hope you all get to go back to the parks soon. Goodbye.